Did you know that Universal Design for Learning has just been updated to the version 3.0? This is an exciting evolution that invites us to ask, who is learning? So let's break it down to understand why this update is so important for both teachers and students. First, remind me, what is UDL? It's a framework for designing inclusive learning experiences. By removing barriers to learning, we can think of them as counterproductive struggles and offering opportunities for all students. And here's what's interesting. UDL was never meant to be static. Since its first version in 2008, it has always been seen as a dynamic and flexible process designed to adapt to new research and the needs of students and teachers. So what have we learned since then? We've learned that learning doesn't happen in a vacuum. There are individual, institutional, and systemic barriers that impact students' opportunities and outcomes. So reflecting on previous versions, it was recognized that while UDL didn't replicate bias systems, it didn't actively challenge them either. This update addresses those barriers more intentionally. Not only are obstacles being removed, but the systems that create them are being rethought, incorporating perspectives from teachers, students, researchers, and communities worldwide. So now let's get a little more specific. What's new in UDL 3.0? First, identity is moving to center stage. UDL has always focused on learner variability, how students engage, perceive, and represent information and express what they know. Now there's another added layer, identity. UDL recognizes that every student brings emotional, cultural, familial, and linguistic factors to their learning. The identity of the teacher is also recognized, along with their potential biases, as something that should be constantly reflected upon to better foster relationships and support learning as a social process. But it's not all abstract concepts. UDL 3.0 also includes practical and structural changes to make it easier to apply. And here are some of the most interesting ones. It moves from expert learners to learner empowerment and learner agency. Why? Because the term expert can sound exclusive, as if learning had some endpoint. Now we focus on empowerment, autonomy, and agency, giving students the power to reflect, act, and make meaningful decisions about their own learning. Goodbye to providing options. Now we'll talk about designing options. This change goes beyond semantics. Designing implies a collaborative process where each student also plays an active role in deciding how they learn. Another detail I love is checkpoints are now considerations. This shifts us away from seeing UDL as a rigid checklist and promotes flexibility based on the context. Lastly, the horizontal rows of the graphic organizers have changed. In the past, we had access, build, and internalize. And now the flow moves from access to support and finally executive functions, promoting a global integration of learner agency. In essence, UDL 3.0 is not just a theoretical framework, but a practical tool to unlock the potential of every student, helping them learn authentically, reflectively, and collectively. This version places renewed emphasis on student identity, actively addressing biases at all levels. It values interdependent and collective learning, uses student-centered language, and celebrates learner variability in dynamic contexts as an essential feature of learning. Are you ready to embrace the change? Because I sure am.